You know, we all have this picture in our heads of what a smart person is supposed to look and act like. But what if that picture is totally wrong? Today, we're going to look at some really fascinating psychology that flips the script on 6 behaviors we usually see as negative that might actually be signs of a seriously intelligent mind.
All right, so let's try something. When I say the word genius, what's the first image that pops into your mind? No, really, take a second. What does that person look like? How do they carry themselves?
I'm guessing for most of us, we picture someone confident, right? Kind of polished, maybe a smooth talker. But the psychological reality? Well, that can be a whole lot messier. Think more anxious, more distant, and yeah, sometimes even a little bit rebellious. There's this huge gap between the ideal and what's really going on.
And that is the absolute key to all of this. What psychology shows us is that high intelligence doesn't always come in a nice, shiny package. In fact, some of the traits that can look a little weird, or maybe even rude, can actually signal a mind working on a whole different level. So let's break down the first one. Okay, first up, behavior number 1, overthinking. We almost always see this as a bad thing, right? We connect it with anxiety or being indecisive. It's that friend who just can't pick a restaurant because they're lost in a spiral of a million what-ifs. But what if it's not a flaw?
See, what we call overthinking is often something psychologists refer to as deep processing. And this reframe is so powerful. It's not just useless worrying, it's a cognitive engine firing on all cylinders. That brain is busy simulating multiple outcomes, analyzing every possible consequence, and mentally rehearsing how things could play out. It's the sign of a mind that sees the entire chessboard, not just the next move.
All right, let's move on to our second behavior, social withdrawal. You know who I'm talking about. The person who's quiet in the corner at a party, or the coworker who always seems to eat lunch by themselves. It's so easy to just label them as shy, or insecure, or even aloof.
And this quote it hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's a huge reminder that what we see on the outside doesn't always match what's happening on the inside. That silence might not be empty space at all. It could be absolutely full.
For a really intelligent mind, that quiet time isn't about running away from people. It's about creating what's called a mental workspace. It's the quiet room they need to go into to wrestle with complex problems, to reflect, and to slam different ideas together in new ways. So for them, solitude isn't a weakness. It's a critical tool.
Okay, next up is a big one, a pretty controversial one, questioning authority. This is the employee who's always asking why a process is the way it is, or the student who won't stop asking, but why, instead of just doing the work. It's so easy to write this off as someone who's just being difficult or rebellious for the heck of it. But here's the crucial difference. The motivation here, it's not about getting attention or creating chaos. It comes from this deep, burning need for things to make logical sense. They're not trying to stir up trouble. They're genuinely trying to understand the reason behind the rule. And this gets us to the idea of independent thinking, which is a true hallmark of a high IQ. A highly intelligent person doesn't just blindly follow the rules. They almost have to. They feel compelled to understand the logic of the system first. And if it doesn't make sense to them, they can't just go along with it. They have to question it. Our fourth behavior is another one that can definitely rub people the wrong way: impatience. Specifically, impatience with anything that seems inefficient or slow. And yeah, it often comes across as pure arrogance or just being rude. But what if we look at it through this lens? A cognitive speed mismatch. This idea suggests the problem isn't about ego or personality. It's about the raw processing speed of their brain versus everyone else's in the room. So that feeling of frustration they show, it isn't them looking down on you. It's the internal feeling of a brain that has already leaped ahead, solved the problem, and is waiting 5 steps down the road while the conversation is still stuck back at the beginning. To them, slow, circular meetings can feel like absolute torture. Now, this next one, number 5, feels kind of similar, but it's a little different. Social distance. We often see this as someone lacking empathy or emotional intelligence. You know, they just seem to have trouble relating to other people's feelings.
But the reason for this might be the complete opposite of not caring. It's something called social overanalysis. Just imagine for a second that in every single conversation you had this program running in the back of your head, constantly analyzing body language, tone of voice, word choice, potential subtext. I mean, it would be exhausting, wouldn't it?
And that's the wild paradox here. Having this incredible depth of perception, this ability to see all the layers and nuances that other people miss, it doesn't automatically create connection.
In a strange twist, it can actually create this profound sense of being totally alone. And now for our final and maybe the most surprising behavior of all, self-doubt. I mean, come on, in our culture, confidence is everything. We're taught that doubt is a weakness, a sign that you have no idea what you're doing.
But I want you to really think about this for a second. It's actually pretty easy to be 100% confident when your understanding of something is just on the surface, when you can't see all the holes, all the complexities, all the unanswered questions.
And that right there is the big insight. A truly intelligent mind doesn't just see the information that's presented to them. They are painfully aware of all the information that isn't there. They see the gaps in their own knowledge.
So this isn't self-doubt as a weakness. Psychologists have a better name for it: intellectual humility. It's the deep-seated understanding that the more you learn, the more you realize just how much you don't know. It's a direct result of being aware of how complex the world really is.
So as we start to wrap this up, the big takeaway is pretty clear. High intelligence is not always neat, it's not always tidy, and it definitely doesn't always look polished. Sometimes, the very traits we're so quick to label as negative are just misunderstood signs of a much deeper mind at work. So let's just run through these reframes one more time. What we call overthinking, let's call it deep processing. Social withdrawal, how about intense concentration? That person questioning the rules, that's independent thinking. Impatience, it's cognitive speed. Social distance, it's deep analysis. And that self-doubt, that's actually intellectual humility. It's a completely new way to see both ourselves and the people around us.
So I'll leave you with this final question to chew on. As you go about your week, think about this list. Think about your friends, your family, your coworkers, and think about yourself. Which of these misunderstood signs of depth do people maybe misinterpret in you?